Welcome everyone to BayTran's weekly webinar series, Connecting Our Region. We're glad to see you all back. I'm Teresa Rodriguez, President of BayTran, and we have again with us our Chairman, Carl Joyner, and our guest today from TxDOT, our Houston District Engineer, Eliza Paul. Thank you, Eliza, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you. This is our last webinar for the year, so we figured it was very timely with all the projects going on in the region, also getting ready for the 87th legislative session to welcome Eliza and kind of get an update on everything that's going on in the region and what our future looks like as we head to state to lobby for more TxDOT funding. Carl, I'm going to turn it over to you for some brief remarks, and then Eliza, we can get started with the program.
So Eliza, thanks so much for taking time to be with us today. We've saved you for the last webinar this year, and we're really looking forward to your presentation, and we really appreciate all that you do for our area and appreciate your friendship. So we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you.
And I'll just, there we go. I've got your presentation ready as soon as you're ready to go.
Yes, yeah, I'm ready to go. Can you go to the next slides, please? I want to thank Teresa and Kyle and BayTran for inviting me to give you our talk today. I just want to go through some of the items that TxDOT is looking at, and also some of our major project that goes on. And lastly, I'll get into some of the projects that specifically in the Bay Area, you know, the 45, the 146, and those type of projects that's in our area. So I just want to start out with TxDOT's mission. And TxDOT used to have a long mission statement, a 3 or 4 sentence long. And we were at one of our supervisor meetings, senior supervisor meeting, and James Bass, our executive director, asked, does anybody knows what our TxDOT mission is? And only a couple of people raised their hand. So I think since then, we revamped it and then changing it to connecting you with Texas. Simply put, we are just connecting people with the rest of Texas, connecting you driving in your vehicle, the freight traffic, the bicycle traffic, the pedestrian, and everybody that's in the region with everybody else that is in another region. And also, on top of that, also going into another state also. Next slide, please. So safety is definitely one of the highest priority in the Houston district. And next slide, please. And everybody, I think a lot of you know that Commissioner Ryan, she's the champion of our safety incentive here in Houston. So there's a couple of things we're doing. So just talk a little bit about what's happening during the COVID-19 environment. You know, since March, I think all of us have been hit by the COVID-19 pretty hard. And TxDOT was going through the same event like everybody else, like all the other businesses and everything's around. And when it first happened, we sent a lot of our employees home, the one that actually can do the work on a computer, most of our design staff, mainly our bookkeepers and all that, they were sent home. And then, but then all the maintenance and the field people, they were still continually working. We practice social distance. We follow the CDC guideline, and we order everybody PPE, you know, the additional masks, face masks, gloves, sanitizing solution and all that. So, and the additional cleaning that was going on both in the office and now in the field, and also in everybody's personal office. So we did a lot of that, and we were able to keep all the maintenance and the construction work ongoing, as well as the design work. You know, we run into some glitches with our computer that was crashed a little bit by the ransomware, but we were able to come back very quickly. And everybody have a computer, they can bring the laptop home, and they were able to do a lot of the design work and everything at home. So we work out all the glitches and all that, and we are basically operation as usual. We are keeping all our letting schedules. We're letting all our project every month. So the design and the planning side is ongoing. And then the maintenance and also the construction side is also ongoing. Granted, we also have the same hit just like all the other industries. You know, we have employees that are in close contact with family members or with other friends and relatives that who has COVID. So we have people that have to quarantine, and we also have some employee that actually have the COVID, and then they have to stay home and recover and all that. So we were working with everybody else, but we were able to keep all the work ongoing. Next slide, please. So what are some of the major safety incentives that Commissioner Ryan was responsible for? One of them we call the End the Streak campaign. But what End the Streak is since November 7, 2000, Texas has not had a single day that we don't have a death on our roadway. So what are we asking people to do? What can you do to help us, you know, end the streak? You can buckle up when you're in a car, wear your seatbelt. You can drive the speed limit or slower. And nowadays, this is something that we really have to stress, because during COVID, because of the lighter traffic, people have been driving faster and faster on the roadway. So this is very important. And the next thing is never drive under the influence of drugs or alcohol. You know, don't drink and drive. Nowadays, you can get a sober ride home. You know, there's Uber, Lyft, and there are different programs, you know, especially like on New Year's and the holidays, that you can even get a free ride home. There's a lot of programs you can just call, and then they will come and give you a free ride home. So there's really no reason or excuse to drive drunk or to drive with the influence of drug. And then the last thing, which is probably one of the most important one, is put your phone away while you're driving. And distracted driving is really not just the phone. You know, I see people eating in the car. I've seen people reading newspaper in the car, put the newspaper on their dash and read and going down the road. And I was thinking, you know, I want to honk them, you know, and tell them to stop, pay attention, you know, keep their hands and their eyes on the road. So what are some of the things TxDOT is trying to do on our side too? We're trying to engineer every single roadway to be more forgiving. We have the wider shoulders, we have the lesser degree of curve. We put in crash cushions and all that to try and make sure our roads are more forgiving. If something happens, if you get into an accident, your chances of recover from the accident is a lot higher. You know, so that's what we're doing. A little bit flatter side ditches and all that. Those are all important things that we're trying to do. We also are putting rumble stripes, you know, in the middle of the freeway and also on the side of the road on the shoulder, so that when you veer off your lane, it will make the noise to try and wake you up or to alert you from moving back onto the lane. And then we have, on some location, we actually put our flashing wrong way sign. These are some of the entrance and exit ramp that we know that there's more chances of people going down in the wrong direction. So we've put up a lot of these wrong way signs, wrong way striping, and we also put the sign a little bit lower, because the tests have shown us, the studies have shown us that when a person is drunk, which is when a lot of the time they try and go into the freeway the wrong way, they kind of look down a little bit. So when people are drunk, their sight kind of go down a little bit. So we actually put the wrong way sign a little bit low. You see them, they're not the normal 7 to 10 foot high sign. They're a little bit lower. They're like 4 or 5 feet down on the ground so that people can see it. You know, we're also putting electronic signs to alert the driver during construction, road closure and all that. And then the last thing, which is very important, and everybody can help us to do it, is on the education side. And try and tell all your kids, try and tell all your friends and families, try and tell everybody that they can do the 4 things up there: buckle up, drive the speed limit, don't drink and drive, and don't drive distracted. Those 4 things, if everybody just don't do those 4 things, we will be a whole lot safer. and together we can help end the streak. Okay, next slide, please. And Commissioner Ryan also, there's a second program that she have pushed out. It's called Road to Zero. And what Road to Zero is what TxDOT is trying to do is by cut our depth on the Texas roadway in half by the year 2035, and then cut it all the way down to zero by the year 2050. So a lot of the things that I just talked about also apply to this Road to Zero mission incentive, that we are wanting to cut the fatalities on the freeway, you know, by the year completely by the year 2050. And by doing all those things that I talk about, educate others, drive the speed limit, don't drink and drive, and all that, together we can achieve that goal. Okay, next slide, please. 2 slides. Just want to go into a little bit, give you a very quickie background of what Houston District is. And a lot of you are familiar with us. You know where we are. The Houston District is consisting, we have 7 different area offices and 9 maintenance sections. And on top of that, we also have the district headquarters, which is down at I-10 in Washington. So each of the county have its own area office, and Harris County have more than 1 area office. There are actually 3 area offices in Harris County: the West Harris, the Southeast, and also the North Harris area office. So the area of our district is about 6,000 square miles. It serves about close to 7 million people. And then there's approximately, I think it's probably about 6 million registered vehicles now. And I have about 1137 is my actual FTE count number of employees here in the Houston District. Okay, next slide, please. And I think a lot of you know that I think what this slide is really just showing is the population growth in Houston. You know, it grows approximately 3.1 million residents in 1980 to about 6.8 million in about 2018. And the trend is showing that Houston is continue to grow, and they're estimating by the year 2045 will be home to about 10.7 million people. So that's a lot of people that we have to support, and that's a lot of people that want to be connecting themselves with the rest of Texas. You know, they could be driving around the road, they could be using all kinds of transportation on the roadway to drive. So we have a big mission to try and take care of the traffic and the congestion and what's going on in here in Houston. Next slide, please. I think what this slides really just show how important the freight transportation here is in Houston. You know, there's about 200 private and public industrial terminals here in Houston, and they take care of about 247 million tons of cargo annually. And those numbers, the 82,000 vessel calls and the 215,000 barges pass through each year. So the slides really show how much freight and cargo aspects in the Houston. And a lot of these cargoes and stuff move around is to service the 7 million, almost 7 million people that are living here in Houston. A lot of it, granted, goes out of Texas into another state and all that. But a big part of it actually stays within city of Houston and within the states to try and take care of everything that the people living in the state needs. So together, we're jumping up the ship channel. The economic impact of the ship channel is about $339 billion of economic impact to the state of Texas. So those are huge numbers. Those are very big impacts that we have. So next slide, please. So what this slide really just shows is some of the major freeway corridors that we are looking at or already currently working on. The 290 corridor, everybody knows about it. The construction is finished. There's about 0.1% there. We're still doing cleaning up work and finishing up the work on Highway 6. There's a project on Hempstead Highway that we're looking at that it was supposed to be done in conjunction with the 290. So we're talking with the stakeholders to try and progress the project along the Hempstead Highway. Grand Parkway is one of our major corridor segments, A to I2. The majority of it is finished. We are currently building the segment on the east side, segment H and I, that's currently under construction, and also segment A, B, and C on the south side, which y'all are very, very much interested in. And I have a separate slide that talk about it in a little bit about segment B and C. That's the remaining segment that is still not being built yet. 45 North, I got a lot more slides about that on I45. That is the big project that we're going to be working on downtown. 288 corridor, that project we are winding down. We just, last month, we opened up the corridor, so the tollway is actually open now currently, and we are collecting tolls, and it's taking the traffic from Brazoria down into the medical center and into downtown. 69 Southwest Freeway, the project over there by the Galleria. We're making good progress, but there's still a little bit more work to do over there on the main lane, and also finishing up some more of the connectors over there on that project. 59 South, I-69, I'm still calling it 59. We have 3 or 4 projects down there in Fort Bend, kind of from Rosenberg all the way down to the county line. And some of those projects are making good progress, and you will see segments of it going to be starting to open starting sometime next year. And then we'll be gradually opening some of that pieces one after another when the job progresses over there. 249 corridor, we have a project that the segment over there inside State Highway 99 is complete and open. We're working on the segment that is outside, and also the segment over there that's in Grimes County also currently. I-10 between Highway 6 and the Brazos River, we got projects over there to add another lane in the middle to widen the roadway heading to Austin and San Antonio. That project is going on really well, and we anticipated we're going to get it done in the next year or so. State Highway 35, that is a new corridor over there that goes to U of H from Spur 5, that goes down all the way to Alvin eventually. There's 2 projects. There's actually more than 2, but two big segments of it. The first one that takes it from Spur 5 to like around 610, and the next one takes it from 610 down to Alvin. So they are both in new location, brand new location, and we're working together to get those jobs progress. 45, the Southwest. The South Freeway corridor, these are talking about all the projects that is down south from like Nassau Boulevard all the way down to the Causeway. So I have a slide that talk about some of those projects later on, and they're also making good progress down there. And on I-10 on the east side, we're doing some planning work in that corridor. We know that that's a corridor that is very important for freight traffic and also for the energy side on the east side. So that's a corridor that we're definitely looking at to progress. Next slide, please. 2 slides. And just want to go into a little bit about the ClearLink project. Governor Abbott, when he was running for governor, one of his biggest incentives was to solve congestion. And once he becomes the governor, he tasked the highway commissioner to work on congestion projects in the urban area, in the metropolitan area, basically in Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and Fort Worth districts, to work on solving the congestion in these metropolitan area. So next slide, please. So the brown one and the blue one are some of the Texas Clearlink, what we call Texas Clearlink project that is currently ongoing. The brown ones are the one that is under construction. So I talk about the I-10 Brazos River, the 610 Galleria project, the 45 South project, two of the project on 45 South from Nazareth 1 to 1764, and also a project over there at the 610 close to the medical center, trying to build that ramp at Cambridge, the medical center. Those projects are all Texas Clearlink, which is Cat 12 of the Texas money funded by a lot by the Texas Clearlink. And number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11 are segments of the project, I-45 project and HHIP project. Segment 3 and 2, they are also funded by Texas Clearlink. They're not only funded by Texas Clearlink, they have a lot of other funding, other source of funding in it, but there's a big part of it is also funded by Texas Clearlink project. So number 10 on there is the State Highway 35 that I talked about already. Those are the two projects that we talk about that goes from Spur 5 down to Alvin. Next slide, please. So the purple job, this purple list of projects is a list of projects that is what is upcoming projects that we're trying to do to solve congestion. These are the projects that is currently not funded yet. Every single one of these projects, we have 10 of them listed. The first one is the piece over there, I-10 at White Oak Bayou. So I call that a gap piece between the I-45 and HHIP and also the project that Metro called the Inner Katy Connector project, called Corridor over there between 610 and downtown on I-10. So this is the area that floods a lot of the time during the big flood. And we're trying to raise it to take it out of the floodplain so that in future, when it rains, it's not going to flood again. And as well, it needs to be reconstructed in order to tie into number 5, which is the future indicated connector project over there and the I-45 and HHIP. So this first one is very important. The second one is the 45 segment 1A, which is the piece from 610 to Tidwell. And number 4 is I-45 segment 1B, which is Tidwell to Bellway 8. So these two projects are the rest of the 45 job, which is currently still not funded, which is a segment from 610 to Bellway 8. The third project on there, which a lot of you are near and dear to your heart, is the I-10 East at San Jacinto River. This is the one that was hit by barges several times, and then it was almost in danger of losing one of the bridges the last time it got hit. So what this project is doing is, once we get the funding, is to span the bridge over the channel, or at least build the columns in the channel that is hefty enough and have enough protection that will take some of the barge hitches. So this bridge is very important to the east side on the I-10 for all the energy type traffic and the freight traffic on the east side. So number 4, I talked about already. Number 5 is the Inner Katy Connector, which Metro has gotten some funding to build a transit lane from 610 to downtown. And TxDOT, what we're trying to do is have another project that will improve the freeway corridor at managed lane in that segment between 610 and downtown within the same limits. Hempstead Highway, I already talked about it earlier on. Those jobs are not funded, and we're going to try and get some money to fund them. 610 South, that is the segment over there from 288 to 45. It's a pretty old segment of 610, and there's some bridges over there that we need to be redo, and the roadway also have to be redone. And when we relook at that, we're going to look at adding managed lane in the middle, or HOV lane, what you call it, manage or HOV lane in the middle for those projects over there. And the other one, okay, the number 9, 610 West Loop. That is the 610 Express Lane, what we call the 610 Express Lane, that will take the traffic from 610 North to 610 South. if somebody is coming down from 290 and they want to go to 610 South, they don't want to mess with the 610 with the Galleria traffic. As you know, everybody knows that it's kind of bogged down over the traffic. That is the number 2 most congested highway system in the entire state of Texas. So if you want to bypass all that, the number 2 most congested, what this project number 9 will do, will take you on this elevated roadway that goes bypass everything. So it's like a superhighway that takes you from the north to the south. And the last project over there is I-10 at the Ship Channel Bridge. This is a project that we're trying to put it in the books, because we know that it will take us about 10 years to try and get the funding, and also try and get the environmental and all that to get this bridge built. So next slide, please. Just very quickly, want to talk a little bit about our design build project. The 288 toll lane, I talked about it earlier, is complete, and now everybody can enjoy the tollway that is going from there, from Brazoria County in Pearland into downtown and also the medical center. 249 segment 1A is already open, and we're working on the remaining segments to try and get some of it open in 2021, and maybe the other one in later part of 2021 or early to 2022. And I also talked about the Grand Parkway earlier, H&I segments that we're currently working on. We're looking at finishing those in the year 2022. Next slide, please. Very quick update on the 45 project. You know, we just recently finished the FEIS review period. So that date was December 9, which was last Wednesday. And we're still taking comments. We continue to take comments until this Friday, December 18. So, so the next step of that project is we're going to try and get to the record of decision stage. By that time, that will enable us to buy right of way and to go into more detailed design on the project. So the next slides, what this talks about really is the final EIS. What it does is we will enable us to go into the next step. There's the executive summary, there's appendices, there's comments and all that. Next slides, please. And on top of the FEIS, what TxDOT have done is we come up with like 12 position papers, what we call white papers, facts and highlights. These are facts and highlights of white paper that talks about each of the items that was listed in this slide there. It talks about flooding, it talks about air quality, it talks about visual, it talks about lowering the highway. So if somebody wants to learn a little bit more about that particular topic for the 45 job, they can look at that position paper and read it, and it will give you some very good general information about what we're doing on that topic on the I45 job. Next slide, please. And on top of that, we are also having some special meetings with, we are meeting with a group of special housing stakeholders to try and talk about how we're going to improve or help with the low-income housing and also the communities in the area. We have set up a special traffic management steering committee. What we talk about in that steering committee is how we're going to manage the traffic both before or during and after construction. Also, we're going to talk about how we handle the traffic on the I45 project. So I think if you keep track of it, we have also gotten the letter from the City of Houston mayor. He put in some asks on the I45 projects that we are currently reviewing, and we'll be sending out some reply on part of that pretty soon. Next slide, please. So this slide looks very complicated, and really it's just a TxDOT way of breaking down a very complicated projects into manageable pieces that we can look at. And we're currently, the two projects that we currently really looking at progressing is 3A and 3B. those are the first two projects. One is a design bid build and one is a design build project. And we are looking at doing those projects very quickly, and then we'll work our way up, and then we'll do the I-10 piece next, and then we'll come back and do the piece in front of the George R. Brown Convention Center. And then after that, we'll work on the piece between I-10 and 610, and then work our way up, eventually up to Beltway 8. So that's some of the timeline. If you look at the timeline on those projects, we're basically staggering them one after another to try and get them all done eventually. So let's go into some of the 45 South project very quickly. That is definitely in the Bay Area, and you are very familiar, and you all drive through these projects every day. And number 1 to 6 are all the different projects that are over there from NASA World 1 all the way to Texas City Y Causeway. And all those projects are already let. Every single one of them is let, and they are in different phases of construction. As you can see, the first one, NASA World 1 with 518, we're anticipating it to be complete by the end of next year. And then if you look at the completion date, you can see that all the other ones are slowly, that's going to be 2001, 2022, 23, 24. And so they're going to be gradually progressing. We're going to try and close them out and finish them one by one and working our way south. And the purple one, we have one other project that is in the island itself. We're trying to reconstruct it from the Causeway to 61st Street. So that project is anticipating to let in fall to 2021. Okay, very quickly, next slide, please. It talks about State Highway 146. And you are also very familiar with State Highway 146. We are widening the existing bridge, and we are also adding these express connectors and also the frontage road, rebuilding all the frontage road to make the traffic over there in that area a lot better. It's solving a lot of the construction congestion that is in the area, and it's a much needed project. Next slide, please. This slide really going through the detailed phasing of the project, and I'm going to leave this slide with Teresa, and if anybody's interested, they can go over it in detail. I'm not going to go over them face by face, but basically the first step, we're doing the widening of the bridge first, and then we'll go back we widen the northbound, and then we widen the southbound, and then we will build the elevated part of the bridge, which is kind of what they're doing right now. And then we'll build the north end and the south end of the express bridge and finish the rest of it. So that's basically the phasing of the project. Next slide, please. This one really just showed, the next one just shows some construction pictures of them putting up some retaining wall out there, putting up our columns and caps. And you can see some of the bridges that is in different stages of completion. The contractor is doing a great job with that project, and they're really working on it pretty hard at it. And I think they're going to finish early. I shouldn't say that, but I do think they will. Next slide, please. Okay, this is just a small little maintenance project, but I just want to bring it to your attention because we have some joint issues over there on the Fred Hartman joint over there. I think a lot of you drive around that bridge, y'all notice it on the southbound side. You have a big hump over there that you have to go through. So we just led a project on December the 7th to do the repair of those joints. And when we are going to do the repair of those joints, we will have to put all the traffic on one side of the bridge and then do the work on the other side, and then we'll switch the traffic back to each side of it. So it's a pretty involved traffic control. The total contract time is 45 days. There's going to be 140 days delay start period for the project because they have to order the joint. There's a time frame that we have to allow the contractor to order the joint and do some prep work before we can actually start the work. So we're going to start sometime early next year to try and get that joint complete and repair for y'all. Next slide, please. So this really just trying to give you some pictures of what the existing joint damage is and where the location of it is. And we're going to try and get that done for you all quickly. Next slide, please. Now this is the slides that I talked about earlier on Grand Parkway segment B. And as you all know, segment B of the Grand Parkway is separated into two pieces. The first segment is from Alvin to, well, segment B is from Alvin to about 45. And then the second piece is from about south of Alvin to 288. So there are different scopes in a scenario that we can build. We can build 4-lane, 2-lane in each direction between 45 and Alvin, and 1 lane between Alvin to 288. Or we can build the entire distance as a 2-lane the entire way. So there are different ways of looking at it and all that. And currently what we're doing is we are doing the revenue study, and we have actually completed the TNR, the revenue, the toll and revenue studies. So, and I know Bob has questions on that, and I can call you and discuss with you on the line about it too. But basically, really what the majority of the results, what the result shows is if you are going to build this roadway just by itself, and utilizing the toll to pay for it, it's showing that you will have to put up certain amount of money on top of that in order to make this segment of the roadway feasible. Okay, so but there are other ways that we can try and progress and get this job built, and but that will require some additional work that we need to get together as a community and also talk to the commissioner about it. And then there would be different ways to progress the project. You know, as you all know, the project right now, Brazoria County and Galveston County still have primacy of the project. So there will have to be discussion on that to talk about who's going to keep primacy, who's not to keep primacy, whether they want TxDOT to do it or they want to do it themselves. And then on top of that, the commissioner has to also make the determination on whether they want to progress with the project also. I know I'm not very clear about that, but if anybody have any more questions on that, I will be happy to pick up the phone and talk to them about it in more detail. Next slide, please. So this is really, if you would go into the next slide, I know we're kind of running a little bit out of time, and the other one after this one too. This map really just shows a lot of our planning projects that we are looking at planning in the horizon. On I-10 on the east side, in fact, currently right now, I think at the same time that this BayTran is going on, there is a 225 PEL stakeholders meeting going on at the same time too. So what we're trying to do in all these projects, and we are trying to engage all the stakeholders in the different region where these corridors drive through, and we solicit input from all the different stakeholders, from the other public agencies, you know, City of Houston, Metro, Harris County, flood control, all the other entities, to find out what everybody thinks should be done in this corridor. And then we will combine everybody's input and analyze them and figure out and filter out what is the best outcome of it. And then once we decide on that, then we'll go into the actual environmental process to go through the real environmental process, go out and have public meetings, public hearings and all that, to go through the process with a suggested alignment or suggested scope of work that what we have solicited from everybody to come up with. So some of these corridors we're doing, I-10 East, I was talking about it, that we are heavily studying it. 225 is another corridor we're doing. I45 South from downtown to Beltway 8, that's the old segment of I45 that not a lot of work has been done for a while. 59, the segment between downtown and Bellway also, that was built a while back. And the 45 North segment is the segment after the 45 and TxDOT outside from Bellway all the way to Conroe. So these are the major corridors that is a little bit older than like the 290 we just finished building, the I-10 we just finished building, I-69 we just finished building. So these are the other corridor that we are trying to look at, trying to implement work in the future. So with that, I think that's my last slide. I'm sorry, I know I went over, and if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
All right, we do have a few questions. Thank you so much, Eliza. I appreciate that. And let's take a quick look at some of the questions that have come in. You did address the Grand Parkway, and that was a question that the folks in League City had an issue or a question about. So BayTran is in the process of scheduling that discussion with Commissioner Ryan. And also looking at segment A, which is not on any of the books right now. So we'll continue to do that. But it sounds like we may need to get some of the other stakeholders and communities involved in continuing to push that forward, especially for segment B right now. A couple of questions. Ed Klein asks if there's a project plan to add an interchange to NASA Parkway, at NASA Parkway to I45 South and at I45 North to NASA Parkway.
Yeah, in fact, it was funny that you asked that question. I was doing the night ride the other day with one of my maintenance supervisors, and we were talking about when we were going to build some of those direct connectors over there at NASA Row 1 and 45, you know, so we said, so we're looking at that, and I'll look into it some more. I know we need the rest of the connector, direct connector build. And typically what initiates some of those things is because of the traffic count. The traffic count is what drives some of those work over there. So I'll go and get my people to take a look at some of the traffic counts and see, and they can count the intersection. They know people go through the frontage road and turn left and go which way to try and determine what it is, what the needs are, and trying to start thinking about the project and trying to get funding for it. You know, that's how I do it. And I was actually talking to my people about it the other day.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for answering that. And we just had a couple of other questions. Yes, we will get the presentation to everybody who joined us today. And also from Chambers County Commissioner Rusty Sinek, and also from Friendswood Mayor Mike Foreman, they both want to thank you for everything you've done for our region and for keeping these projects moving, especially this year. You're a year in now, and what a year it's been. So thank you for keeping everybody motivated and moving forward. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to say the same thing, ditto to everybody. I want to thank everybody for the support and the help and encouragement and all that everybody have given up, you know, up and down. I've nothing but good things that y'all been helping me on starting this job, and I really appreciate that. I want to thank everybody for it, the partnership.
Oh, thank you, Eliza. Thank you. I'm going to wrap up with a couple of remarks. I just want to thank today's sponsor, Othon, and also BayTran sustaining members, Harris County Transit Services and Port Houston. We appreciate all of our members. We appreciate all of our attendees to these webinars this year. It's been a different year, and we are hoping that next year looks a lot different and we'll be seeing you in person again. We also just wanted to wish continued prayers, send continued prayers to Mayor Pat Hallisey from League City and his wife Janice as they recuperate from COVID. So they mean so much to us, and you know, we want them to be on the mend pretty quickly. But other than that, on behalf of BayTran, I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we are going to see you in 2021. Chairman, you want to close it out?
Yeah, so again, Eliza, what a great presentation, and I'm so happy that you're fitting into your new job now, and we appreciate all that you do, and I hope you and Dennis have a great Christmas, and to everyone else that was on today, Merry Christmas and be safe, and we look forward to our next webinar in 2021. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
And have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you.